So I was one of those that, we were young when our parents divorced. And if you'd asked me if it was any effect on me at all, I would have said no, not a big deal. I mean, like you said, the holidays are a hassle. My dad remarried twice. So, and you're talking almost 25 years, almost 25 years, almost 25 years before he passed. So there was a lot of overlap, which made it kind of crazy. And one of the issues I dealt with which is the number one issue, and that's unresolved anger. The first issue we deal with is that we were never able to really deal with our anger, and we are angry. And I'm going to focus on when adults, we were young, when our parents divorced, high school or younger. Basically, number one issue is anger, and there's just a couple. I mean, there's a number of reasons, but a couple of the ones is there's loss. We lose, as you had described. Suddenly, Christmases are different, holidays are different, birthdays are different. And this whole thing of, well, now I get two birthdays, it's not as great as we think it is. You lose whole sides of the family. Maybe you can't do sports anymore because you're in one place one week and you're in another place the other week, so you can't make the practices. You might lose your friends. Often when there's divorce, there's a loss in economic status. So we didn't have what we used to have. So we lose some of the stuff we used to have access to, and we get angry. Another reason we get angry is, I call it the loyalty challenge. Basically, which one do you love more, me or your mom, or you or your dad? Which one do you love more? And some people actually come out and say it. I've had people say, yeah, my dad came in and said, you want to live with me or live with mom? But others times, more often, it's more subtle. I remember I was leading worship at a church, and I would get there early. So at that point, my dad had come in and he was a visitor. My sister would come in from the other side of the coast, and everybody would come in. My dad and my mom would come in, and I got done with worship, went down to sit with my family. My dad and my stepmom are on one side of the pew. My mom and my sister on the other side of the pew. My wife and my kids are in the center. So where do I sit? Do I sit with my mom or do I sit with my dad? And the problem is let's transpose that. You're playing clarinet in the band, and you're 9 years old, and you're playing clarinet, and you get done with your song, and the teacher says, go sit with your parents. And your dad's sitting on one side of the auditorium with his girlfriend. Your mom's sitting on the other side of the auditorium. And you're thinking, well, I want to sit with my dad because I don't get to see him that much, but mom doesn't like the girlfriend. I don't really like her either, but I never get to see dad. But if I sit with my mom, then my dad's going to say he never gets to see me. And if I sit with my dad, then my mom's going to be upset that I sat with him. And this kid's 9 years old. And then the next day, he's in class and somebody takes his pencil or something and he goes whack and hits them. And the teacher goes, well, why'd you do that? I said, I don't know. And then this boy grows up and he still has anger issues, and it's politics or it's sports or his wife's always bugging him or whatever, kids are not behaving. But in reality, he still doesn't know why he's angry. And very often it has ties to the divorce. It is very, very frustrating. And for men, we talked about women's needs and all that sort of stuff. Anger is a huge problem in relationships. And anger is often the one thing that men express. He's always angry, he's always whatever, and all this. But actually, you know what? We'll do a quick detour real quick. Dealing with anger, Tom and Beverly Rogers created an acronym called GIFT, GIFT. Basically, if you're feeling upset or angry, instead of blaming it on the world and everything else, go, am I feeling guilty? Am I feeling inadequate or inferior? F, am I feeling fearful? Or T, is there some sort of trauma or triggers involved? And if you ask those questions, you're far more likely to not escalate because it becomes internal instead of external. Instead of blaming whoever, you're going, wait a minute, why am I responding this way? And it tends to keep the anger down. So anger is a big issue. There's fear of abandonment, fear of conflict, fear of doom. Fear of doom is interesting. Fear of doom is waiting for the rug to be pulled out from under you at any minute. And as a result, you're always waiting for things to collapse. So even say the job's going good, wife's going good, the kids are behaving, got a raise, everything's great. If you're from an intact family, your anxiety goes down. But if you have divorced parents, what the research shows is that job's going good, wife's really great, kids are behaving, got a raise, your anxiety level goes up. And you go, well, why would it go up? And that's because you have more to lose. I mean, if it's all going to fall apart anyway, because that divorce announcement that came in, your whole world changed. And now you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And as a result, we don't relax and we tend to become control freaks, which is another thing that gets the ladies upset, because we really believe if we can keep everything in control, then everything will be okay. But it just doesn't work. So the first couple of things are anger and fears. And fear, guess what, was on the gift exercise, and fear triggers anger. Inadequacy triggers anger. So again, a lot of the things that impact us as men, well, and women, when divorce happens, are the very things that tend to undermine relationships. So that's the first couple of things.